The Galactic Military Academy's gymnasium fell silent as Instructor Vexter, a towering Krillian with 4 muscular arms, surveyed the new recruits. His compound eyes swept across the diverse species assembled before him: Zenthari with their crystalline exoskeletons, fleet-footed Dravians, and the amphibious Quellan who excelled in aquatic operations. And then there were the 2 humans. Sarah Mitchell stood beside Robert Chen, both looking remarkably unremarkable compared to their alien counterparts. At 5'6" and 5'10" respectively, they were average by human standards, but diminutive compared to most species present. The other recruits had already begun whispering about Earth's newest additions to the Academy, questioning why such a fragile species bothered applying to the most prestigious military institution in the galaxy. Physical assessment begins now, Vexter announced, his translator device rendering his clicks and whistles into standard galactic common. We start with basic strength evaluation. Each of you will approach the gravitational resistance platform and lift what you can. This establishes your baseline. The platform hummed with energy, capable of simulating various gravitational fields and resistance levels. One by one, recruits stepped forward. A Zenthari named Crixol lifted the equivalent of 300 pounds in Earth gravity, his crystalline structure gleaming with effort. The crowd murmured a Dravian managed 250, impressive for her lighter frame optimized for speed. Robert leaned toward Sarah, keeping his voice low. Did you catch what he said? Lift what you can. Sarah's lips curved into a slight smile. I caught it. You thinking what I'm thinking? Probably. Let's not get ahead of ourselves though. When Sarah's turn came, she approached the platform with measured steps. Vexter adjusted the controls, setting it to Earth's standard gravity, a courtesy for the weaker species. The other recruits watched with polite but minimal interest. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as the species that had somehow survived on a death world, but physical prowess, that was another matter entirely. Sarah gripped the handles, bent her knees, and lifted. The platform registered 220 pounds. Respectable. She set it down smoothly and stepped back. A few aliens nodded in approval, better than they'd expected from a human. Then Robert stepped forward. Standard Earth gravity? Vexter asked, his tone slightly patronizing. Robert looked at the platform, then at the instructor. You said lift what we can, right? Correct, you mean what they can lift? Robert gestured to the other recruits. Or what I can lift. Vexter's mandibles clicked in confusion. I do not understand the distinction. You lift your maximum capacity, right? But see, there's Earth normal, and then there's what humans can actually do. Robert's expression remained perfectly serious. Where I'm from, we've got documented cases of people lifting vehicles off trapped victims, mothers lifting cars off their children. It's called hysterical strength, Sarah added helpfully. Our species has biological limits. Our brains artificially restrict our muscle usage to about 30% of actual capacity under normal conditions. Prevents us from tearing our own tendons and breaking our bones. But adrenaline overrides those limiters, Robert continued. Pain, fear, anger, they all flip the switch. Thing is, we've been training to consciously access higher percentages without needing a life or death situation. Vexter's translator struggled with his skeptical clicking. This is highly irregular. Biological limiters exist for protection. You claim humans simply ignore them. Not ignore, Sarah corrected. Override selectively with training and conditioning. Robert cracked his knuckles. So I'll ask again, Instructor. Do you want me to lift what these guys can lift, or what I can actually lift? The gymnasium had gone completely silent. Every eye, compound or otherwise, was fixed on the human. Vexter's 4 arms crossed simultaneously. By all means, recruit. Show us this actual capacity. Robert stepped onto the platform. Might want to reinforce that. Just saying. The Krillian instructor's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. But he increased the structural integrity field around the platform anyway. Better safe than sorry. Robert closed his eyes. Sarah watched as his breathing changed deeper, more controlled. She'd seen him do this before, back during their training on Earth. The military had spent decades developing protocols to help soldiers safely access greater percentages of their muscular capacity. It was dangerous, carefully regulated, and absolutely necessary for humans to compete in a galaxy full of naturally stronger species. When Robert's eyes opened, they held a different quality. Focused. Primal. He gripped the handles and lifted. The platform groaned. The numbers climbed. 300 pounds, 400, 500. Robert's muscles stood out like cables under his skin, veins prominent, face reddening with exertion. 600, 700, impossible. Someone whispered. 800 pounds. The platform began to shake. Vexter's eyes widened. Recruit Chen, you may stop. Not done. Robert's voice came out strangled but determined. 900 pounds. At 1,000 pounds, he finally set it down, staggered back, and bent over with his hands on his knees, breathing hard. Sarah was immediately beside him, checking his vitals with practiced efficiency. You okay? Yeah, Robert gasped. Just need a minute. The gymnasium erupted in chaos. Recruits surrounded them, speaking in a dozen languages simultaneously, their translators creating a cacophony of amazement and disbelief. Vexter pushed through the crowd, his forearms waving for silence. Explain, he demanded. Sarah straightened, supporting Robert with one arm. Humans evolved on a high-gravity world with extreme environmental pressures. We're persistence predators. We don't have claws or fangs or natural armor. What we have is endurance and the ability to push past what should be our limits. Our bodies can do incredible things when we need them to. The cost? Vexter asked quietly. Muscle damage, potential stress fractures, extreme fatigue, Robert answered, standing straighter now. That's why it's controlled, trained. We don't do it casually, but when it matters, when lives are on the line. He met the instructor's compound gaze steadily. We can ignore the limits. Vexter stood silent for a long moment. Then his mandibles clicked in what the translator rendered as a laugh. I begin to understand why your species calls your planet a death world. You didn't just survive, it too weaponized its lessons. Sarah smiled. We prefer to think of it as adaptation, indeed. Vexter turned to address the entire assembly. Let this be your first lesson in warfare. Recruits, never underestimate an opponent based on appearance. The humans have shown us that true strength isn't just what you possess, it's what you're willing to sacrifice to exceed your limits. As the other recruits dispersed, still buzzing with excitement, Robert looked at Sarah and grinned, despite his exhaustion. So, your turn next session. Sarah's smile turned competitive. Oh, absolutely. But I'm going for 1100. Show-off learned from the best. Vexter, walking away, clicked to himself in amusement. Humans, perhaps Earth's application to the Academy hadn't been such a mystery after all. Any species crazy enough to override their own biological safety mechanisms was either insane or exactly what the galaxy needed in its defenders. He suspected it was both.